Imagine our earliest ancestors telling stories around the fire. In ancient times, storytellers carried with them the knowledge of a society's past. They brought news about what was going on in the present, and they related stories about the great heroes and leaders of their cultures. And at all times in human history, from the ancient past up until the present, mischievous storytellers have created fantastic tales simply to trick people into believing they're true. When the story is told, someone who believes it tells it to a friend, fully convinced that it actually happened. And the story spreads and spreads.
A woman my friend knows had a baby who went blind after he got sunscreen in his eyes.
That's terrible. Oh, the poor baby.
A man in our town died after he'd eaten bananas that contained a deadly bacteria.
Deadly bacteria? No!
All of these stories sound bizarre and terrifying, yet none of them is true. They are all urban legends, stories that are told to trick people into believing that they are true. Urban legends are a type of hoax. Hoaxes are elaborate tricks designed to fool people. A hoax may employ objects or pictures to make the story more believable. Probably the most famous scientific hoax was started by a man in England. He altered a number of bones and fossils and then buried them. Charles Dawson found them and claimed to have found the missing link, a fossil that proved that humans descended from apes. These fossils were called Piltdown Man. For 40 years, many people believed Piltdown Man really was the missing link. But in the end, scientists determined that the Piltdown Man had been created, using the skulls of medieval humans, the jaw of an orangutan, the tooth of a hippopotamus, and the canine tooth of an early chimpanzee. It's still not certain who created Piltdown Man, but it was one of the most famous hoaxes ever. Would you believe in Piltdown Man? Maybe, maybe not. Let's see how good you are at detecting the truth. I'm going to tell you two stories. One story is based on a famous hoax. The other actually happened. After watching both stories, you decide which one is true. Ready? Story number 1, gravity reduction.
This has been an Aeronautics and Space Report presented by NASA.
Scientists at NASA predicted that Neptune would pass in front of Uranus. Using Einstein's theory of relativity, they determined that when the planets were aligned in this way, the pull on the Earth would be powerful enough to diminish the force of gravity. They predicted that if you jumped in the air at that moment, you would feel as if you were floating. Now, are you ready for story number 2? Noah's Ark found. Everyone knows the story of Noah's Ark. In fact, 3 of the major world religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, all share the story that the world was destroyed by a flood. Only Noah and those aboard the ark were saved when they landed on top of Mount Ararat in Turkey. But did it really happen? New satellite pictures of the mountain show an object. It is believed to be the remains of Noah's Ark. Which story is true? Our gravity reduction story is based on a famous hoax. On April Fool's Day, 1976, British astronomer and children's book author Patrick Moore announced on the radio that the planet Pluto would pass behind Jupiter. Many listeners called in and actually claimed to have floated around the room. During a remarkably warm winter, snow on the top of Mount Ararat in Turkey melted. For the first time, satellites were able to record images of an object that had previously been buried under the snow. These satellite images do, in fact, reveal a mysterious large object, which may or may not be Noah's Ark. Stories of the fantastic, the improbable, the bizarre. We love to hear them, we love to tell them, and we want to believe them. And that's why some of us love to make them up.